Hello students, welcome to class today. Today we are continuing our lesson from last week. We are looking at positive and negative numbers. The first thing that we have to do is we have to remember our rules, okay? The rules are so important. And today we take our time to go through the rules so that you don't get confused along the way. The rules are basically four. We say when two positives are coming together, we have a positive. And then when a positive and a negative are coming together, we also have a negative. So the negative can be on the left hand side, and then the positive can be on the right hand side. We will still get our results to be negative. When we interchange it, whereby the negative goes to the left and the positive comes to the right, it is still negative and positive coming together. So that also gives us a negative answer. Okay, so this is where the challenge is, or sometimes. When negative and negative are coming together, we say we have positive, okay? So when negative and negative come together, we have positive. So we have 5 examples here that we're going to go through so that we will know how these rules actually relate when we have a real-time equation to solve, right? So on our first equation, we have 8 minus 11. So if you look at the equation, 8 is holding a positive sign because there's no sign here. Once there's no sign here, it makes the 8 positive. And the minus here actually is going with the 11. So it is a depth of 11 and then a positive sign of 8. So what we need to do is that we need to take our depth from our positive sign. So our depth is bigger than our positive sign, so which shows that the answer that we're going to get is going to be a negative sign, okay? So what is 8 minus 11? And that is going to give us minus 3. It is minus 3 because our depth, our negative sign goes with a bigger number. So whenever the negative sign goes with a bigger number, it means that your result is definitely going to be a negative result, okay? Now let's look at our second example. 7 is carrying the negative sign and our 14 is positive. So which means we have a depth of 7 and then we have a credit of 14. So 14 is positive, 7 is negative. Because the bigger number is carrying the positive sign, it means our answer is definitely going to be a positive sign. So 7 out of 14 will also give us 7. So we have a positive sign of 7. So you see, this sign goes with 7. Positive sign goes with 14. So if you relate question 1 and 2, it shows that the number that carries the sign, if your bigger number carries a positive sign, it means your answer will be positive. If your bigger number carries a negative sign, it means your answer will be also negative. So you have to take a key note between question 1 and question 2 always. Okay, now let's go to the third example. In the rule, it says that negative and negative will give you positive. But let's look at this equation. Our negative sign is attached to this 8, and then our other negative sign is attached to 10. So they are not coming together at the same spot. They are kind of in a different position because this is attached to this and then this is attached to this. So it makes your 8 a depth and makes your 10 a debit. So it's like you are owing 8 and then you go again to borrow 10 more. So your debt will increase by 10. Or you have a debt of 10 and then you go and borrow 8 again. So your debt will also increase by 8. So this minus sign cannot change to be positive because they stand in quite a different position relating to the equation. So our minus here is a debt and this one is a debt, and that is going to give us a debt of 18. Okay? So always check where you have your signs, and then you can also determine your answers. Okay, now 4. Now the two negative signs are coming together. So if you look at our rule, they are coming together at the same section. Okay, they are coming together at the same point. So they are at the same point here. So which means that now the rule here will apply and change this to become positive. So in the actual sense, this is going to change into positive, and then we're going to have positive answer of 13. Okay, so always check your 3 and 4. If it is at an opposite direction, you still carry your minus, but if it is at the same location, it changes to become positive. Okay, let's look at our final 5th example. We have -3 minus 6. So which means you have a depth of 3, and then you have two negative signs coming together. How do you get your answer? Okay, so we will apply the knowledge from question 4 over here. So when we apply the knowledge from question 4, it means when two negatives are coming together at the same spot, we have a positive. Okay, so now we have our positive sign here, but what happens to our negative sign here? Our negative sign here still remains as it is because the rule does not apply yet here. So once we have our positive sign, now we can consider our -3 and that of the 6. So it means you owe 3, but you have 6. So you can pay your debt and have a positive 3. Because now the 6 becomes positive and your 3 becomes negative. So this is how you have to always do it, okay? Check the location of your signs, and then you apply the rules nicely so that you don't make any errors. Whenever you are writing, make sure you write your negative signs so that your answers are going to be correct. I hope this one has gone well with you and you're not going to make any mistakes going forward. We will go to our task 1 for the day. We have 10 exercises or 10 questions that you have to try your hands on to understand your positive and negative numbers, okay? So make sure you do this one correctly and you post and I check for you. Thank you, and I'll see you in our second video. Hello students, welcome to our second session on positive and negative numbers for today's lesson. We went through some examples in our first video, and on this second video we'll be doing our second activity, but I would like you to always put emphasis on your rules so that whenever you are doing your exercises it becomes so easy for you. Sometimes when you have the equation, relating them to the rules becomes a bit confusing, but what you have to do is that you should always look at the position of your signs, your negative signs and that of your positive signs. When they are at a different location or different position, the rules apply differently, and when they meet at the same spot, you should also know how to apply your rules. We will have our second activity, which is task 2. So this is your task 2. You also have 10 questions, just as you had for your task 1. I want you to also finish this one, and then you send for me to check to see how the understanding is going well with you when we talk about positive and negative numbers. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in our third video. Goodbye. Hello students, welcome to our final video on our lesson positive and negative numbers. Before we close, I would like to lay more emphasis on our rules for handling positive and negative numbers, because the rules are the key to unlock or to open or to find answers to all equations when you are dealing with positive and negative numbers, okay? So our first rule says that when you have two positive numbers, it means your answer is going to be a positive number. Our second rule also says that when you have a negative and a positive sign coming together, you would have a negative answer. The third rule says if your negative is also at the left hand side and you have a positive at the right hand side, you're going to have a negative answer. Your negative and negative coming together will give you a positive. So like we shown at exercise example 4, when your negative and negative come together here, it tends to be positive and your answer is likely to be a positive for you. Whereby you have a negative attached to one of your numbers and then you have two negatives coming together, you first have to deal with the two negatives that are meeting to be positive before you come to the other number that carries a negative sign. So it makes your work more systematic for you and easy for you to find solutions to. On our rules, rule 2 and that of rule 3, the clue or the secrets behind these two rules are this. When you have a larger number carrying a negative sign, it means that your answer is going to be a negative. And then the other rule, when you have a larger number carrying a positive sign, it means your answer is going to be positive answer. So whenever you are dealing with rule 2 and 3, you always have to look out for which of the signs carry the larger number. Okay, that will help you to find your answers all the time. This is our homework for the day. We're still dealing with positive and negative numbers. You have the 4 exercise in the Telegram group, which I'm going to post to you so that you can do your homework for us to close our section or our lesson on positive and negative numbers. Thank you for joining class today, and I hope to see you next week.